Alright guys, so in this video we're going to look at a note-taking method that I would like you guys to follow as you take notes on the videos and the textbook readings that you're assigned in this course. This note-taking method is called Cornell Notes, and so the way this starts off, you can see it on the paper, is you break the paper up into these sections. So you have a smaller rectangle up front, and then you have a large rectangle in the middle, you have one off to the left, and you have one on the bottom. In the top rectangle, you write your title, and you'll notice, so the title for these notes are going to be Newton's second law of motion. You'll notice that I draw a little picture, and this is something that I'm going to want you guys to do throughout your notes, at least somewhat, is to have these visual pictorial representations of the ideas being explained in the video, or the ideas that you're reading about in your textbooks. The reason for this is because there's two reasons. One is efficiency. So you can imagine if you had to try to explain what a cat was to someone who has never seen a cat before, and you had to explain it using words, it would take quite a while, and they still probably wouldn't get the best picture of it. Or you could just draw a picture and save yourself some time, and it may not be the best picture, but at least they would have an idea of what a cat was. And so this is what I want you guys to do in your notes. We're going to have a lot of ideas coming at you, and you're going to need to write them down very quickly and succinctly, and pictures are a great way to do that. Another reason is because when you need to translate ideas into pictures, just the mental processing involved with that helps you retain the information, and it shows your understanding. So you notice that in this big portion, the large rectangle portion, I'm taking notes just as I normally would. So when most people think of notes, this is what goes into this large section here, the detailed notes from the video. But at the same time, I'm writing equations, which we use a lot in both physics and chemistry. I define all my variables. I use arrows. I have a section divider, so you'll notice the squiggly line and the three dots, and so that helps me organize my ideas. Right now, I am talking about forces and net force. So to represent that idea, I have like an object in the middle, and I'm showing visually how different forces can act on an object. I'm representing visually what I mean by vector sum, and you'll see kind of this pink thing here is the net force. So all that, as I'm going through my notes, I can just look at, I can get that idea very quickly, and in the process of doing this, I had to translate the words and the ideas into a picture, which will help me retain the information better. And so this is what I want to see in your notes. Not that everything has to be pictures. You'll notice when I'm taking my notes, I do use a lot of words. It's how I tend to take notes. It's how I tend to process things. Maybe it's just years of learning and taking notes. But at the same time, I also put pictures. And some people are more visual than others. Some of you may take notes, and like almost half of the notes will be pictures. Some people are more verbal, in which case you can use different fonts. So you'll notice I'm underlining words, I'm capitalizing words to make them stick out, so you can change the font. You can add emphasis. But even then, I still want you guys to have pictures. Some people worry about making pictures because they feel like they can't draw. And I just want to emphasize that it is not about the quality of the art, it's about the quality of the ideas. Okay, so you'll notice my pictures, they're not anything really to write home about. They're arrows, they're boxes, they're dots. I try to represent different masses and how that relates to acceleration. So you can see I try to draw like these little weights. These are not great pieces of art, but they get across ideas to me, okay, and I understand them. And so this is what I want to see in your notes as well. I want to see, obviously, words and expressions of idea equations, but I also want to see pictures. I want to know that you did that mental processing. And again, it's just more efficient. When you go back to study your notes, you're going to look at these pictures, and you're going to be able to see these ideas in the form of pictures, and it's going to be a very efficient way to review them. So that's the big section. Okay, so that's your big kind of note-taking section. And so the next step after you've taken all your notes is you're going to go to the left-hand side, so that thin little rectangle on the left-hand side, and what you're going to go through is you're going to mark the key ideas. And so for me, again, I use symbols here, so I have exclamation points to emphasize it's a key idea. And next to that section of your notes, you write the big idea from that portion. Okay, so again, this helps you when you're studying, because when you go through your notes, you'll be able to look on this left-hand side. You're going to see the big ideas. It helps you review for the test or exam or quiz or whatever it is you're studying for. And then if you need to know more about it, you have the details right next to them. Something else that's good here is possible test questions about the material. So it's always really, really great as you're going through things to write possible test questions that you think I could ask about this, and then see if you can answer them. So as you're studying, if you have these PTQs, which you took freshman study skills, you've probably heard of PTQs. If you have these PTQs on the left-hand side, you've essentially made it yourself a practice test. Okay, so it's a really efficient way to study. And then at the bottom, you summarize all these notes. Now, what I tend to do at this bottom is I tend to use what's called a concept map. So I'll have like the central idea, the central topic, and I'll have this visual map, this mind map of how the topics relate to each other. And this is a very individual thing, that everyone's going to have the same concept map or mind map. In fact, you don't have to use a concept map if you don't want to. If you'd rather use bulleted lists with some pictures to summarize everything, that's perfectly fine as well. Like I said, this one of the strengths of this, it is a very personal, individual type of thing. So anyway, these notes really don't take you much longer to do this way than they normally would, or at least they should. It really helps you study. It helps you retain the information. So that's why I'm asking you guys to do this. And trust me, if you put the work in and you give a good effort on this, your studying will be easier. You won't have to spend as much time on it. I know you guys are busy, you have other things to do. So I hope you found this helpful. You can use this in all your classes if you want. And again, I want you to use this on any notes that you submit for this class.